Hello everyone. In this video, we will see the instructions for building our first robot, that is vintage car, as a part of our robotics construction level 1 course. From this video, our learning objectives are obviously to build the first robot. Then we also want to understand how gears transmit motion. And finally, we want to understand how to use the remote control of Curio Reach robotic kit. So let's begin. Step 1. We need to construct two assemblies. These are mirror images of each other. In each assembly, what we need is one C plate, one square plate, and two flat rotators. You can see here, this square plate is attached to this C plate using two nuts and bolts. Here we see the tail of the bolt, which means outside we have the head of the bolt, and they are attached in the bottommost slits of square plate. Please look at the alignment of the slits. If you see here we see vertical slits and here the horizontal slits. Similarly, in the C plate we see the vertical slit. The C plate's flat surface is on other side, and we see here the non-flat surface. We have attached this flat rotator here, one and one here, using only one nut and bolt each. That gives us one hole here and one hole at the end here. Similarly, we will create another assembly. Please note this is a mirror image, so their alignments and directions are slightly different. Here also, rear side we have the slipping slit, and here in the C front side we have the standing, but we have attached it from this side, not here. In the first case we have attached it here, in the second case we are attaching it here. Again, two flat rotators attached using one single nut bolt each, giving us two holes. In our next step, we are going to attach one square plate here, which will connect these two C plates. Keep this square plate as behind as possible because we want more area here in front. The placement of nut bolts is not very important. You can see where you have available slots, and you can ensure that you put two nut bolts on each side. That is important. This square plate is attached to these two square plates using L connector here. Inside you can see L connector. To do that, first you need to attach the L connector to this square plate only. You see the direction of bolt, head is down and tail is out here. First attach the L connectors to this square plate and then put this here and attach to these two square plates using one nut bolt each. Again, the head is outside, the tail is inside. Here also you can see the tail inside, that means head is outside. These two we have attached earlier just to show that on both sides head was outside here. Now step 3. Step 3, we are attaching the motor. You can check the motor shaft coming out of this first standing slit here. And the motor screws are attached here, the bottom vertical slit here. Motor is always attached along with the motor shaft. And we have put one axle through and through this hole which is formed in the C plate using this flat rotator. So this axle, we have put the big axle through and through. Next, on that axle, we are going to put first one spacer and then we are going to put this gear. Instead of spacer, you might have to put a hub. The important thing is these two gears should align properly. So for that, if you need to put a spacer behind, a shaft lock behind, you put that. Whatever you need to put behind. Behind this gear also we have put one shaft lock. Okay, so these things which you have put behind, you need to decide what you want to put. You want to put shaft lock or spacer based on how they mesh each other. This is a big gear while this is a medium gear. Now what it does, the motor is here, whereas our wheel is going to be attached here. So the motion of the motor is transmitted through these two gears to the wheel. How? When the motor rotates, this gear rotates. Each teeth of this gear pushes one teeth of this gear. So this rotates, this gear also rotates. Because this gear rotates, this axle rotates along with it. And the wheel is attached on the axle, so wheel rotates. This way, the motion of the motor is transmitted to the wheel using these two gears. And that is one important usage of gear, to transmit the motion from one point to another point. In this step, we have attached a wheel here. Again, between wheel and gear, we can put spacer if required to ensure that the wheel does not touch this gear. Okay, and after putting the wheel, we have put the shaft lock, this side as well as on the other side. For the front, we create this assembly. You see, an axle, a small axle is used, and on that small axle we have put two wheels. The protruding part of the wheel is inside, both the wheels is inside, and the flat surface of both the wheels is outside. And when we put this through this hole which is formed, the circular hole, not the square hole, but the circular hole. When we put that axle through that, we lock it on both sides using shaft lock. And that completes our vintage car. Now let's talk about the remote. The remote has two buttons and one connector. It's written here motor connector. And here is the place where we will attach our DC jack from the battery holder to provide the power supply. And the wire which is attached to the motor of the robot, the second end of that wire will be attached here to the remote. While attaching the wire, ensure that you give support to this part from behind. Hold a thumb behind here so that when you push it, it doesn't get damaged. Once that is done, these two switches will be used to operate your motor. One switch will rotate the motor in clockwise direction. The other switch will rotate the motor in anti-clockwise. That means the robot will go front because of pushing of one switch, while it will go backward when we push the other switch. So this way we can make the robot go front and back using this remote. So what did we learn from this video? We built our first robot. That is the most important thing, isn't it? Yes. Then we also understood how gears transmit motion, and we also understood how the remote control is used to move the robot front and back. I hope you will enjoy making this robot and operating it. Do let me know about your experience in the comments.